Capitalism. It's the system of economics that most countries and individuals in the world subscribe to. Undoubtedly, it has caused as much opportunity as it has caused suffering. Given that this channel is about the correlation of business and faith, it was about time that we made a video addressing the root of businesses in the first place. What does the Bible actually tell us about capitalism, and is it intrinsically evil? Keep watching for answers to these questions. The International Monetary Fund defines capitalism as an economic system in which private actors own and control property in accord with their interests, and demand and supply freely set prices in markets in a way that can serve the best interests of society. In simpler terms, it is when private persons own the means of production and prices are determined by the market, which is influenced by supply and demand. Let me give you an example. Joe owns a can-making company. He operates under capitalism because of the following reasons. He isn't a member of the government and is a private person. He controls the means of production, which are the tools, machines, and raw materials needed to make the cans, and the prices of the cans he sells are determined by supply and demand. Meaning, if demand for cans increases, for example, then the price that Joe can sell his cans for increases as well. It's easy to come to the conclusion that the Bible, and Christianity by extension, is against capitalism. Many Bible verses have been interpreted over the years as being against capitalism, with the most quoted verses being Matthew chapter 19, verses 23 to 24, which say, "And Jesus said to his disciples, 'Truly I say to you, only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven. Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God.'" Other verses like Matthew chapter 6 verse 24 say, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money." All these verses seem to point to the fact that the Bible and Christianity are inherently against capitalism. But in actuality, the Bible isn't against the system of capitalism itself. Let's look back at the Bible for proof. One big aspect of capitalism that the Bible is a proponent of is a person's right to own property. Owning property can be thought of as an expression of God's instructions to humans in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, which says, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." God specifically instructed us to be stewards of His creation. We were told to fill the earth and subdue it, and one component of that is that we can own property as a means of having dominion over the earth. Our right to private property is even enshrined in the 10 Commandments, with one of them being that we shall not steal. Since capitalism is hinged on the concept of owning private property associated with the means of production, we can say that biblically it is good to own private property for the purposes of selling goods or services for profit. Another aspect of capitalism that the Bible supports is how capitalism can give purpose to a person's life by allowing them to work. Many Bible verses articulate this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10 says, "For even when we were with you, we would give you this command: if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat." Colossians chapter 3 verses 23 to 24 say, "Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ." Work is a God-given mandate and a blessing. We are created to work and are called to use our talents to become stewards of His creation. In fact, we contribute to all of creation by working. Work also allows us to participate in and reflect God's act of creation. Since we were created in His image and likeness, we are called to work and create just like He did. Human work is essential to the spirit of capitalism. Capitalism provides many people all over the world with fulfilling and life-affirming work. Capitalism also allows us to use our God-given talents in ways that can bring about our individual purposes. For example, someone who is good at math can work for a building company to create structures such as roads and bridges that ultimately help others. Even the Bible verses that are supposedly against capitalism aren't actually against the economic system of capitalism itself. Rather, they are warnings about using capitalism for the wrong reasons or being overly attached to the earthly benefits of capitalism. A rich man will find it hard to enter the kingdom of heaven, not because he is rich, but because he serves money instead of God. But you must be thinking, how can capitalism be a good thing when it has caused so much pain and suffering? Things like poverty, corruption, the exploitation of workers, and the destruction of our environment can be felt all over the world. How can something that causes those things ever be considered good? Well, in actuality, it's not capitalism itself that causes all of this. Rather, it's human greed and selfishness that does. Capitalism as a system in and of itself is not causing these negative consequences. Rather, just like everything else in the world, capitalism can be abused by human sinfulness, resulting in dishonest and hurtful practices that negatively affect millions of people around the world. For example, a restaurant owner can be faced with two choices: pay their waitstaff a living wage or keep their wages low for the sake of increasing profits. If he chooses to keep their wages low, this isn't a sign that capitalism is unjust, but rather that the owner of the restaurant is acting unjustly, using capitalism for their own personal gain. Human greed is the real culprit in this situation. Now you must be thinking, isn't capitalism still wrong as it serves our self-interests? While it is true that we are called to serve others, self-interest isn't inherently wrong. Self-interest is a legitimate pursuit of the Bible as long as it is not at the expense of others. Philippians chapter 2 verse 4 says, "Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others." When self-interest comes at the expense of others, then it morphs into selfishness, which the Bible and Christianity detest. We all have free will to choose whether to do good or evil. It ultimately is up to us whether we choose to fulfill God's mission of being stewards of His creation, or if we abuse our God-given talents and blessings for our own personal gain. In the end, Christianity is not against capitalism. It is against the greed that comes from those who abuse the capitalist system. The system isn't inherently good or bad. It's whatever we want to make of it. In short, we are all called to do good. Whether we choose to do it, it's up to us. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button as it helps us reach more people. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and be sure to click on the bell icon to be sure you don't miss any of our next videos. Comment down below any prayer requests or problems you might be experiencing at work or in your business, or if you're looking for answers on what to do. Till next time, God bless.